Well, hi everyone. Well, we have some really interesting things to show you today. We're over in our design studios where we have all of these artists. They're a little different, you know. They're artists.
Oh, yeah.
And so we have these artists, and actually they're in the midst of getting ready all the props and the costumes and so on that go with our new exhibits at the Creation Museum that are opening in November.
That's right.
So we have new exhibits opening in the Creation Museum in November. They're absolutely startling, the big murals, and we've redone the whole aspect of biblical authority, starting points room, the relevance of Genesis, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to open in November, and we'll be ready for all of our Christmas crowd, you know, Thanksgiving crowd, Christmas crowd with the brand new exhibits that are under construction right now. I have with me Travis, and I also have Sandy, and I'm going to get online here and follow my own Facebook Live. There we are. So people can actually put comments here. Somebody from Sydney, Australia is watching.
Nice.
They're going to have to come over and visit the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter. So this is what's interesting. Now, as part of the Biblical Authority Room, is that correct?
That's correct.
We have a number of aspects for this new exhibit at the Creation Museum. Well, multiple new exhibits, actually. Actually, I couldn't believe how much room there was there and how big those exhibits are. It's amazing.
Once you open it up, it looks really,
So we're going to have these actors acting as Joseph, Rahab, David, Hezekiah, Daniel, and Jesus. And they're going to be in a video, and it's going to be part of an exhibit.
Exactly.
And we're making costumes for them here that you tell me are the best researched costumes in the history of the universe.
That's right.
Is that right?
In the history of the universe. So, yeah, like you said, we're doing, in this exhibit, we're doing these things called, we're calling them video portraits. So there'll be these big, like 60-inch monitors, 4K screens where you'll really get a good sense of these characters. So you can think of it like almost like a moving National Geographic image.
And you're going to put costumes on these people, but you just didn't decide to go out and rent costumes.
No, we don't do that.
You didn't just get ordinary material. Sandy here has been by hand. Using a hand loom. We're going to look at a hand loom here in a moment. I'd never seen a hand loom before. And there's what's that other thing over there?
Inkle loom.
Inkle loom? I've never heard of an inkle loom. An inkle loom?
So
okay, and she's been using those, and we're going to look at the materials that she has actually put together, made.
It's very exciting. I mean, and the things that our God has blessed our studio to be able to do is really incredible. So, like you said, with this project, we decided to get really authentic with it and actually hand weave a lot of our textiles that our characters are going to be wearing. So it's really exciting.
I can't believe you did that. And as we look at this, let's move. It's going to be.
Well, why don't you come around
these are going to be the characters.
We'll
these are going to be the costumes. You want to have a look at them real quick?
Yeah, let's take a peek at these. So, as you see, we have Joseph, we have Rahab, David, Hezekiah, Daniel, and Jesus. And one of the things we're emphasizing in the room is that the Bible takes place over a number of different periods, spanning different cultures and influences, and so we're really being very period-specific with all these costumes, specific to the context these real people are in. And we really think it's going to make an impression to our guests that these guys really existed. They're real people, real humans, and so we're really excited to show.
And to make the costumes look really authentic, I mean, not only all the research that went into it, but then to do them by hand. And
one little detail I wanted to throw in there. So we are actually still looking for a Jesus and a Daniel. So if anybody's interested, knows anybody, just feel free to comment below. We're looking for people that...
So which is Daniel?
So we have Daniel here.
See, so if you look like that...
a little older in life, 60s and up.
A little older in life, 60s and above. Okay.
And then we have Jesus
That
here.
obviously counts me out.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously,
So, we're looking for people that are, of Middle Eastern or Eastern Mediterranean descent.
Any of you budding actors out there, if you want to be a part of this.
And you don't have to be a professional actor.
Hey, we have someone else here from Wollongong, Australia, who said, cool, I love biblical costumes. Well, okay, wait till you see this. Let's go.
So check this out.
Which one will we go to first?
So we're actually going to kind of talk about... We're going to talk a little bit about the process
that
it takes to get these pieces made. So, I mean, so Travis kind of creates the designs, brings me, we talk them over and discuss them and try and figure out what would actually be able to, what kind of designs we can actually create on the looms. So then we work through these concepts as he's kind of drawing out a little bit more specifically. So we have kind of Joseph's cloak here that kind of figuring out the design a bit more specifically, and we've got some different borders and stuff for Hezekiah, and then this wrap that he's got, and then different borders and headband and stuff for David. So we have to kind of work through those things and figure them out, and then I go to the computer and figure out the specifics of, all right, what, how many strands how thick do we want this to be, how many strands, how are we going to actually be able to create this pattern with weaving. So I go to the computer, figure those out on the computer to kind of have my guideline, and then we can actually start taking these concepts, projects to the looms. So this is the Inkle loom. And
now, there's only one thing here. In Daniel's day, did they do that, go to the computer first? And
they didn't. They had it all in their head. They knew what they were doing.
Okay, so they were brighter than us.
Yeah.
A little bit. And I'm still kind of new to this. I just started
Okay.
started weaving back in January, so.
Well, and that's one of the neat things is, we talked about doing this, and Sandy was like, yeah, let's give it a shot. So she taught herself all this weaving stuff. And
A lot of YouTube videos.
yeah.
They were great.
Hey, somebody says here, Scott Byrne says, professional actor, I could help out.
Cool.
If you can help, let us know, right?
All right, let us.
He's looking for someone to act Daniel and Jesus right now, okay?
One thing that's neat.
And it'll go on a special film, it'll be high quality, and to be shown in the Biblical Authority room.
Feel how thick this is. It's really kind of insightful.
It is thick.
These garments, these borders, it's actually really thick, and that was kind of a learning thing for me, is like when you develop these designs, they actually get pretty thick and they hang a certain way, and so it's really neat.
Scott Burns says, I'm a professional actor, just played Christian in Pilgrim's Progress, the musical, I'd love to help.
Cool.
We'll message you. You can message him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll look through the list.
Okay, he'll message you. Okay, so let's have a look at this.
Yep, so this is the Inkle loom. And
loom.
you don't have to have this loom to actually be able to do this kind of weaving. I had previously strapped up to the shelves and what's called like backstrap. But this is card weaving. And so basically by turning the cards certain directions and then sending the weft through, the yarn through, I'm able to create the different designs. So this is actually called a warp-faced weave. In other words, you only see the yarn in the design that is on the warp. So that's the long threads here. You don't really see the weft at all except on the sides.
That was amazing. Okay, so that's this one. That's just a little...
Yeah,
loom.
that's just a loom. So I use that one to create the borders and headbands, baldricks. But then we have these larger pieces here that I've used for the larger
So these
loom.
are all hand done on the hand loom here. We're going to look at the hand loom over here,
Yep.
and you can explain
So-
how it's done.
Well, so we start with, after I get the calculations all figured out, I have to be able to thread them in a certain way. And so I have to once again go to the computer, figure out my threading pattern, figure out how wide I need it to be, how many, strands of yarn I'm going to need to create that. And then I take it to this warping mill here. And I measure out the yarn, all the yarn that I need for the loom onto the warping mill here.
You're caught on something.
Thanks. So after I get that all on here, I have to take it off, and then I can actually take it to the loom. But that's not all, because
Tell them how much.
oh yeah, so for these two pieces here, there was probably about 3 miles worth of yarn used on Joseph's cloak.
3 miles. For Australians, you've got to convert that into kilometres.
Oh, I haven't figured that one out yet.
Okay. Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's about
About
5
kilometres of yarn. Okay,
So,
3 mile yarn.
for those of you who like doing, your 5Ks and everything, that's about how much yarn I needed to create this piece here.
Now, how long did it take you to weave this?
So this one, there was 2 panels that I did, 2 pieces. The first one was a bit of a learning curve. That one took about a month. The second piece here, I was able to do, I think, in about 2.5, 3 weeks then. So definitely was able to cut down on the time.
So
once
can
I
you
was-
show us how you did it on here then? Let's have a look at this. It looks easy to me. You just string a few strings around there.
No.
And you had to load all this up, all this yarn
Yes.
up?
So you have to load the yarn on here. I first string it through what's called the reed right here. And that helps organize the threads. So that'll keep everything kind of in order as I take it towards the back of the loom. I'm currently using 7 harnesses. So that's what these are here. And I'm going in a weaving pattern. It's called a 7-1 twill. So basically, right now, one harness will go down and the rest will go up, is what the 7-1 twill is.
Can you do a line?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can hold this for you if you like.
Okay, let's see you actually do one. I'm learning how to loom. No, what do you call it?
How to weave.
Oh, you don't call it loom. You call it...
All right, yeah.
Okay, we're going to weave here.
Right, so right now I'm pressing the first treadle, and this is taking the first harness down and raising the rest of the harnesses. And then I go to the second one, send it back through.
People don't realize how much work goes into, I mean, you guys, when it comes to the exhibits at the Art and the Creation Museum, there's a lot of research goes into them. That's why when people come and say they just look so professional, so world class, well, even producing these costumes for the new exhibits, in one aspect of the Creation Museum, brand new exhibits will be opening in November, and this is just for one little aspect of it, all the work that goes into producing handmade costumes so that they look authentic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely put a lot of love in the exhibits that we do. A lot goes into them.
So now I'm on the 5th one out of 7. We're getting there. Still working on the same line.
Somebody said here, wow, that's crazy, but it's beautiful. Yeah. I can't believe you have the patience to do that.
It's amazing to me when you look at these designs here, you're just seeing the top threads. So there's multiple threads that are sort of hidden behind there. So that's why this stuff gets so thick as you go through.
This is just 2 passes here, but here, this area here, and down here, this is the 7 passes. So it's quite thick in those sections. Because
It amazes me you just taught yourself to do this.
It was.
I guess that's what the Egyptians did. And
Something I always found interesting was weaving, and it was just something I never thought I would actually get the chance to be able to do and to learn.
So when do you know when to change thread?
Based on the pattern that we came up with for this one, this is kind of the end of this design right here. But once again, on the computer, I created kind of my design, and so I know, like, I have basically 3 whites before I change to the red, and I have 10 red before I change back to the white, and then to the navy, and then it's just kind of working out.
By the way, I've got a
from
correction
there.
to make. Somebody's made a correction here. Travis said 3 miles was about 5 kilometers of yarn. Somebody actually
3.1.
went into Google and fixed and said they worked it out. It's 4.828032 kilometers.
Thank you.
There. So 5 was rounding it off. That was pretty close. That's pretty good. I'm thrilled that people actually did that.
Yeah.
So somebody said that is amazing. I appreciate the work and research that you all put into it.
Well, one of the cool things, like Sandy mentioned, she had a desire to do this and never thought she'd have the chance. And, that's, I would say, a common thing that happens around here. There's a lot of us that, we go into life, with these, wishing we could work on this, and we come here and we actually get to do a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a kid, I always wanted to, sculpt and draw, but one of the things I want to do is make armor. And I think working here, I've actually probably spent a year or 2 making armor at the Creation Museum. I mean, how crazy is that? And so
hey, Travis, what we should do, maybe in the near future, do a
Yeah.
Facebook Live like this and show how they design things here and sculpt, and then use our big new CNC machine and show what happens, show how that works.
Yeah,
and we'll set that up for them. It's amazing to see it working, and to see how the sculptors use it. And actually, this room has 3 3D printers in it too that you use.
Yeah.
But let's go back here, and Sandy, if you can hold up these cloths to show people, the results of your hard work.
So this one here is Daniel's sash.
That's Daniel's sash. Okay.
Take the end that
So
way.
again,
So we can just
we're
kind
looking
of
for
open this out
we're
so you
looking
can
for a
see.
couple
This
of actors. We had one on here already say that they are interested, but we're looking for a couple of actors
This
to
was
put on
about
these
like
costumes
4.5
and we video
yards
them.
long. So, just to give you an
And you can
idea,
be
this
famous. You can be seen by millions of people at the Creation Museum on video. That's some sash.
Yeah. One of the neat things here, let's see.
So that took you 5 minutes?
No, this one took about a month probably to,
About a
'cause it
month.
was quite the process.
So, with this sash, though, one of the neat things is we're able to study some Assyrian reliefs. I mean, Daniel was under the Babylonians, but very similar cultures to the Assyrians. We were able to find paint traces on the sculptures. We found some different articles on it, and so that's where these colors come
Okay,
from,
they
right
come
from.
So,
yeah.
so it actually, there's reason for why
Yeah.
you do what you do. Somebody
So
said
these
here they're a quilter
designs-
and enjoy watching this. So do you quilt, Sandy?
I do. Yes, I
And
do.
how is
Yep.
this compared to quilting?
Well, it doesn't really compare to quilting a whole lot in that, except that basically this is most of your fabrics you quilt with are woven, but they're a lot finer and softer, and they're not near so thick.
So these are more coarse, more thick. And then this one here is going to be?
This one is Joseph's cloak.
This is Joseph's cloak.
Travis,
His coat of many colors?
Yep, that's right.
take this corner there. Hold this
So,
one
yeah,
up.
let's pull this guy out.
So this one was about 2 yards, and I had to create it in 2 panels. Originally, I was hoping to be able to create it all in one, but I couldn't get the yarn to pack down quite right. I figured out how to do it, it just wasn't working out quite well. So I ended up doing it in 2 different panels to create our cloak here for Joseph.
So, Travis, somebody said here, this would be cool to see as a floor exhibit in and of itself. You know what we're going to do? We're going to be setting up in our design studios sometime in the future, really, you know, the backdrop to all the exhibits and what goes on, and be able to have design studio tours. And, of course, this would be part of it. We'd set all this up and show the loom it was done on and have all that there and that sort of thing. Hey, somebody from Alberta who says it's finally sunny. Hi from sunny Alberta. Oh, so the sun came out. Well, good. So there we are. Yeah. And these are some of the yarns over here that you
So
use.
these are the current yarns over here that I'm using for the project that's on the loom right now for Hezekiah's wrap. So, yep, I have little bobbins on the shuttles that I'm able to wrap the yarn on. So that's what this is here. It's a little bobbin winder. And I'm able to get the yarns onto there. And so when I run out, just bring it over here, refill, and
So
back to
somebody
work.
said here, really gorgeous. Those are very ambitious patterns for a beginning weaver. Well done. Sandy is very
Oh, thank
talented. I'm
you.
amazed you picked it up so quickly and were able to do this. And
It was. No,
only Sandy.
I'm sure
yeah.
there's plenty out there.
Well,
who
you did a
could.
lot of the costumes too for the figures down at the Ark in the exhibits for Noah and his family. And when you visit the Ark and you see those costumes and curtains, Sandy had a lot to do with that, right?
Yes, a lot of volunteer help though.
There's a lot of volunteers
Oh,
come in
a
and
lot of
help. And then you
volunteers.
even had to dye some of the materials
Yes,
too,
yep.
as well as put them all together. And
That was the fun thing. I think your first week here on the
Yeah.
job. It was like, hey Sandy, can you learn how to dye fabric? So Sandy's used to some interesting challenges, and yeah, she's been awesome.
hey, by the way, just while we're here, just finishing up, this is one of the 3D printers we use.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if I have any
This
pieces.
is another
but-
one over here,
Yeah,
and this is another one over here.
yeah. So
3D
3D printers are amazing tools. We're actually. Oh, here's a good example. So this is a test printing for Joseph's collared necklace that he, I believe, gets from Pharaoh.
Oh, okay.
So we're seeing if we can print the whole thing and actually just basically weave it together, kind of like this. So
I'm printing it all on a
yeah,
3D machine there.
yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, so these are some neat designs. So Hezekiah, we're going to give him a helmet, and so these designs are pulled from different things that you would see in his period. So this being the winged sun disk that you see on his seals, and lotus flowers that'll go around the rim. So these will become little stamps we'll press into it, and yeah.
So, Sandy, I see another loom over there. You're not going to use that one?
Not right now.
Not right now?
Yeah.
What
Not
is-
right now. We got that one for free, so we don't have it up and running just yet. It's an older style loom, and I still haven't figured out the brake system on it. We have to figure out how to be able to get the
So if there's anybody out there,
Hey,
Yeah.
if somebody out
anyone's-
there watching, it's this one here.
knows how to.
We were given that one, and you're trying to figure out the brake system.
Yeah, it's a
So
Myra.
maybe we could do a close-up look at this
Yeah,
one
here we
here. And so, because I think there's a couple of people on here who are involved in weaving, and maybe
Yeah,
they could.
so it's a Myra Nihilus Leclerc loom, and if you know how to work the brake system on it,
Yeah, call
that
Sandy.
would be
Yeah,
that would be
let us
great.
know on here, and we'll message you if you know how to work the brake system. But
Because I got everything else set up all right, but it's just the brake on the far right corner up there that holds basically your warp in place so it doesn't move on you while you're weaving. So
well,
it's a
you
pretty
never know.
important piece.
Somebody could out there know how to do that. And now, what is this one that you're doing right now? You were
This-
showing us before.
So this is Hezekiah's wrap.
Oh, that's Hezekiah's wrap.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I should have guessed that. Of course, of course, it looks like Hezekiah's wrap. Well, I'm amazed at what you've done and the talent that God brings along to this ministry. God gives us different gifts, and there's no way I could do anything like that. And I couldn't design anything like that. But Sandy
we
can.
can't
and
do what
Trent-
you can do. So,
well, I'm going to go down the Ark and speak right now, actually, because I'm speaking down the Ark this afternoon. So I do that, and you do what you do, and you do what you do, and we're all designed to do what we do, and etc.
Do
this
it
is
well.
as much as I can handle with speaking. So, yeah, you go enjoy that.
All right, and plan to come to the Creation Museum this year in November when we open all these spectacular exhibits. I mean, I'm amazed as I walk through and see what you guys have done. It's going to take. In fact, it'll sort of take the whole museum up a whole big level, having all these new
We
exhibits that
certainly
we're
hope
adding
so.
in.
Yeah.
And I mean, the main part of the museum, of course, we've been upgraded as we go along. The walk through the Seven Seas and so on. We just upgraded the 4D theatre, as you know, and we're going to be upgrading the planetarium. And
Yeah.
we've done a number of upgrades, and then the Christ Cost Consummation
Yeah.
exhibit. But this is going to be another major upgrade as we
this'll
add
be
in these
really
new
special.
exhibits in November. So with
Yeah.
that, hey, thanks,
Yeah.
Sandy. Thanks for showing us what you do. I still don't understand how you do it, but I'm glad you
Neither
do
do
it.
I. She spent hours explaining it to me, and I still can't.
Somebody wants to know what your educational background is. You went to school.
No, I didn't. I did not go to school for this. My mom actually started teaching me how to sew when I was just a little girl. Started with embroidery, hand sewing stuff. I know by the time I was like 10 or 11, I was working on projects on the machine. I remember by 12, I had made my first dress with her help. And then once I graduated from high school, God just sent people my way with different projects. They're like, hey, Sandy, can you fix this? Can you make this? And just really expanded my skills with that, and started a business, and he just kept sending people my way. And then when this position opened up, I applied, and here I am, just still growing and learning. So
God has used your talents and your experience. Someone said here, I used to use that same loom. It's a bit tricky. Maybe you could message that person.
all right,
They might
that'd
be
be
able to
great.
help you. You can see on my Facebook. Sandy,
right,
Sandy
will
could
do.
message you. Maybe you can help. And somebody else said here, love enjoying going behind the scenes with these presentations. Amazes me what goes into the exhibits. And someone asking you all about how you choose the period accurate costumes. But you do a lot of research into that.
I would need a few hours.
Yeah, okay. He's an artist, so
I don't think you want to get into that much depth. That I really could talk for hours on these costumes.
and they have put a lot of research into it.
It's
So.
something I've spent a lot of time over the
Okay,
years.
so with that, this is from what room do we call this? Our
This will be in our biblical authority room.
no,
Oh,
this room is our seamstress room.
Yeah, our sewing room, our
Sewing
3D
room,
printing room, our
3D
white
printing
model
room, seamstress room. Yeah. We'll do another behind the scenes in the near future and show them the CNC machine
Yeah.
and all the fun things that go on there. We'll get that
Yeah,
working.
we'll be doing some real cool
Okay,
things pretty
with
soon.
that,
so.
I'm going to go down the Ark and speak this afternoon. So we'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
okay,
guys.
bye.